Hey folks, real quick before we begin the video, I've recently been a part of a project called Destined to Drown, as well as many other talented voices. A Zelda fan story that takes us through an incredible journey unlike any of the games. I voice the evil Yami, who has a hatred for Hylia and a sinister plan ahead of him. This is something that I've been really passionate about and I'm very honoured to be a part of, so it would mean a lot to me if you'd check it out. Head over to Rin's channel linked below to listen to the story. I'd massively appreciate it, and now, on to the video. Hey folks, this is the story of a hero who wasn't destined to be. A boy with a normal life ahead of him turned hero at a moment's notice. We've seen many incarnations of the hero who we've come to know as Link. A heroic swordsman, with the spirit of the hero within him, present in each hero before and after him. Except, in one particular part of the Zelda timeline, there's one hero who changed this. Because he was never meant to be the hero. In today's Zelda lore video, we'll be taking a look at the lore of the unlikely hero, the boy from Outset Island, the main character of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, Link. But why was a boy named Link not destined to be the next hero? He wore the green clothes. How exactly did he fall into this role? And just what does it all mean in the lore of the Zelda universe? It's time for a Zelda lore telling, so be sure to go grab yourself a delicious snack and drink for the video, folks. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for lots more fabulous Zelda content coming your way. Drop a cheeky wee like down there, and without further ado, let's explore the lore behind the unlikely hero. The true beginning of this hero's tale takes us to the summit of events in Ocarina of Time. The final battle against Ganon. The ending of this game is one of the most significant events in Zelda lore and history. The Zelda timeline was a linear progression of stories up until here, starting with the origin story told through Link's adventure in Skyward Sword, all the way down to Ocarina of Time. It's here, however, that the timeline would be altered and split into 3 different outcomes. How does this work? Well, each branch of the timeline split occurs due to 3 different outcomes at the end of Ocarina of Time. There's the child timeline, which occurs if Link is successful in defeating Ganon, going on to the adventures of Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Four Swords adventures. There's the downfall timeline, which occurs if Link is unsuccessful in defeating Ganon, a version of events where the hero fails. This leads us to the stories told through games such as A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, and most recently, Echoes of Wisdom. But then there's the curious adult timeline split. The other 2 are Link being successful and unsuccessful. So what exactly occurred to cause this split? Well, the splitting point between Ocarina of Time and The Wind Waker is rather dark. The prologue to The Wind Waker explains it well. We're told of a beautiful kingdom, flourishing with nature and filled with lively creatures. There existed a golden power within these lands, the holy relic of the Zelda universe, the Triforce. This kingdom was at peace, until one day a man of great evil found the golden power and took it for himself, causing a period of darkness and decay for the kingdom. Settlements were ruined, monsters spread across the land, and the kingdom was now under the rule of a great evil. That was until the hero of time showed up and took on this great evil, saving the kingdom from a certain doom. However, the evil returned later, but someone did not. The hero of time who saved the kingdom once before, the man the people of Hyrule were waiting for to save the day, never appeared. They were left hopeless, as communities around them were torn apart, homes destroyed, and their fate drew near, the people of Hyrule pleaded to the gods for help, begging for the evil to put to a stop. But what happened to the kingdom? What exactly did the gods do? In these desperate times, did the gods hear their plea? And if so, what did they do? The people left their life in the hands of the gods, not knowing if they heard their prayers, their pleas, their desperate calls for this to end. The people of Hyrule were left in the dark. The gods did take action by flooding the land and ensuring the evil would not win. This event is known as the Great Flood, but this was at a cost. The landscape of Hyrule, its beautiful green fields, the towering mountains, and the stretches of stunning land were all washed away. What remains is the Great Sea. Those who survived are the ones who reached the mountaintops before the flood, now islands with history that has begun to vanish from memory. What didn't vanish from memory, however, is the hero in green, the hero who was supposed to turn up and save the kingdom. On Outset Island, it became a tradition that when young boys became of age, they wear the green garbs that the hero once wore, a symbolic reminder of the hero everyone was waiting on. This is where the adventure of the game begins. A young island boy named Link wakes up on his birthday. This is the unlikely hero. Today is his coming-of-age day, living with his younger sister, Aryll, and their guardian, their grandma, who is the one to give Link the green clothes on this special day, which he wasn't too big a fan of, and why should he be? This boy isn't the destined hero of Hyrule, and these clothes are uncomfy. He's just an island boy, but all of that would soon change. Not long after receiving the green clothes, a bizarre sight passes by the island. A giant bird carrying a young girl approaches, with a pirate ship chasing behind, blasting cannonballs at the bird. Now, for context, Outset Island is a pretty quiet and isolated island. Not much goes on here, so the sight of this was quite the event. The young girl was dropped into the forest of fairies atop the island, and Link, in a true coming-of-age moment, gets himself a sword and heads up to find the girl and make sure she's alright. After helping her out by slaying a few monsters in the woods, the girl, who we learn is called Tetra, leaves in a hurry, eager to hunt that huge bird down. Though, as Link follows them out of the woods and back onto the bridge he crossed to the woods, an unpredictable incident occurs that would change his life forever. The bird, known as the Helmarok King, swoops in and grabs Link's sister. In just mere moments, the boy had to watch this winged beast steal his sister away from him and their grandma. This is where the adventure truly gets real, as Link convinces Lady Tetra and her crew to let him join them, in order to track down the Helmarok King and save his sister. Before leaving though, Link heads to his grandmother to collect the family shield and say a very emotional goodbye. For now. The boy turning hero will return, with his sister. That mindset was the beginning of this unlikely hero becoming a reality. The pirates and Link set off for the Forsaken Fortress, where they know a bird has been abducting and taking young girls with pointed ears. A curious description which would soon make sense. In his next heroic action, Link would enter the eternally dark sea fortress via catapult, which ended up with a rough landing and a lost sword. But the hero pushed on and scaled through the fortress, sneaking past moblins and taking out searchlights. He managed to reach where his sword was, which is where he finds the prison cell with many girls inside, all with pointed ears. He sees his sister and is relieved to find her in one piece, but before he could free her along with the other girls, the fierce Helmarok King returns, and this time grabs Link. The bird takes Link to the very top room, a broken-up pirate ship turned into a headquarters. But for who? Well, this is where Ganondorf resides, the king of evil who plagued the land over 100 years ago during the events of Ocarina of Time, before the Great Flood. He is behind the girls with pointed ears as he's endlessly searching for Princess Zelda, who, at this point, Link does not know, but she's closer than he knows. Ganondorf orders Link to be tossed into the ocean, and thus, the Helmarok King yeets him away. At some point in the night, a mysterious red boat recovers Link, and the next morning he wakes up inside this boat on the shores of Windfall Island, with Tetra and her pirate crew nowhere to be seen. However, this small boat can talk. The King of Red Lions introduces himself to Link and explains that he was watching him to try rescue his sister from the evil man in the fortress, who he explains to Link is Ganon, the very same evil that was told in legends. The King of Red Lions explains to Link that if he wants to save his sister, he'll need to embark on a quest. Ganondorf cannot be taken out easily. The first task on this quest is to recover the 3 Goddess Pearls, which together are the key to finding the one item that can stop Ganon. This sets off the hero in progress's next quest, venturing to the volcanic Dragon Roost Island, battling through flames and foe to recover Din's Pearl. The Forbidden Forest, where he hacks and slashes through wild vines and venomous vegetation to recover Farore's Pearl. During this part of the quest, Link is also given a unique item from the King of Red Lions, something an Outset Islander could never have imagined. He's given the Wind Waker, a magical conductor's baton that allows the user to control the direction of the wind. It's here on Dragon Roost Island that he begins to learn its power, something he developed throughout the story and become a necessary part of progressing. Leaving just Nehru's Pearl to find, but that one isn't within a dungeon. That pearl is in the hands of the water spirit Jabun, who the King of Red Lions believed to be residing by Great Fish Isle. However, when the pair arrive, Jabun is nowhere to be seen, and the island is a mess. They soon learn that Jabun fled to Outset Island because Ganondorf paid Great Fish Isle a visit, one that left his mark. The pair then head for Outset, sailing the seas, encountering various monsters and obstacles, but eventually, Link returns home, but strictly for business. His sister is yet to be saved, and the young island boy is turning into the hero day by day. After opening up the entrance to the cave, which Jabun is hiding within, they acquire Nehru's Pearl, despite the water spirit's unsureness about Link, which is fair. After all, he isn't the true destined hero. He's just an island boy who wants to save his sister, but he is moulding himself into a hero, and Jabun can see that. So, with the 3 Goddess Pearls now in possession, Link and the King of Red Lions take them to the Triangle Islands, placing each pearl on the corresponding island, which reveals something massive. The Tower of Gods erects from the depths of the Great Sea, and quickly they enter inside. Link scales this sacred tower, which acts as a trial in order for him to prove himself worthy of collecting the sacred power that will stop Ganon. Link must solve puzzles and challenges to reach the top of the tower, where he's faced with the final part of this trial, Godan, the guardian of the tower, the final test for Link to prove his worth. Now, a curious detail here is that Godan calls Link the Chosen One, which isn't true. This isn't an incarnation of the hero, nor does he carry the spirit of the hero. Perhaps it's the green tunic that causes Godan to say this, or maybe it's just the fact that he's here. Ordinary people don't turn up here. This tower is made specifically to test the hero. After besting Godan and completing the challenge, Link can head to the rooftop where he'll find a giant bell to ring. Once rang, this reveals a golden entrance in the water below, one which takes Link and the King of Red Lions down to the depths. What's down here, you ask? Hyrule. The lost and flooded Hyrule Castle is where Link is, and the reason he is here is for the key to stopping Ganon, the Master Sword, which can be found in the lower levels of the castle. The blade rests here in its pedestal, not just waiting for a hero to come draw it, but also as a lock, holding the enemies and time itself in place down here. Under the instruction of the King of Red Lions, Link draws the legendary blade that was once used by the Hero of Time himself. The hero who this Link is essentially replacing. Without wasting any time, Link and the King of Red Lions head for the Forsaken Fortress to face the Helmarok King, whilst Tetra and the crew rescue Aryll and the other girls. Afterwards, it's Ganondorf that Link goes to face. Now with the Master Sword, the King of Evil can be defeated, and Link can get him back for kidnapping his sister. Only, there is one problem here. As Link enters the room, Ganondorf begins to talk. He explains that, whilst Link has indeed acquired the Blade of Evil's Bane that could put a stop to his plans, drawing the blade had a consequence Link was not aware of. When the blade was drawn from its pedestal and the time lock broke, that didn't just unfreeze the enemies down below, it also broke a magical seal that was holding Ganondorf's evil magic at bay, meaning he is now free to use his powers. To top it all off, the blade has also lost its full power. It doesn't gleam as the Master Sword should. It's unable to repel evil. Ganondorf overpowers Link and almost manages to kill the boy who he believes is the hero from long ago. You have to remember, this is Ganondorf from back in the Ocarina of Time era, where he battled against the hero in green. He believes that the Hero of Time is back. Tetra intervenes before anything tragic happens to Link, but even she is overpowered by the Gerudo. In this moment, his Triforce of Power resonates within him, and he makes the realization that Tetra is the one he was looking for. Princess Zelda. This is a big reveal for us as the player too. In the nick of time, Link and Zelda are rescued by Quill and Prince Kamali of the Rito, as Valoo burns Ganondorf's headquarters down to ash. Link, Tetra, and the King of Red Lions retreat back down to Hyrule Castle to regroup and form a new plan of action. With the blade not at full strength anymore, they head back down to the hidden chamber where the sword was kept. When Link and Tetra enter the chamber, a mysterious character in red stands before them. He tells the pair of the tales of the Kingdom of Hyrule and the royal family, but they have no idea what he is talking about. The history of Hyrule is a faded memory to those of the sea. Before turning around, the man in red reveals that the place they stand is Hyrule. This is none other than the former king, King Daphnis no Hansen Hyrule. He then reveals that Tetra's necklace is actually part of the Triforce of Wisdom, 1/3 of the most powerful relic in the Zelda universe. The king then hands her the missing piece of the necklace. Now complete and in her hands, it reveals Tetra to actually be Princess Zelda. Although we realized this in a previous scene as the player, this is the moment in lore that Link and Tetra herself learned this. Tetra, Princess Zelda, is the true heir to the throne of Hyrule. Despite all the surprise and shock they are going through, it's here that Link's next quest is set out. Whilst Tetra must remain in hiding down here, Link and the King of Red Lions must return to the sea to investigate why the Master Sword's power has vanished. It's believed that something must have happened to the sages of Earth and Wind, whose prayers helped to power the mighty blade. However, their temples lay beneath the waves, but there are entrances somewhere on the high mountaintops, now islands. This wee island boy's adventure to save his sister, and now also stop Ganondorf, continues. This part of Link's quest sees him travel to Headstone Island to investigate the Earth Temple and what happened to the sage of this temple. Once he enters the island, he's met with a large stone with music on it. These notes are the Earth God lyrics, which once played, the spirit of the former Sage of Earth, Laruto, appears and explains to Link that Ganondorf stole her soul, removing her prayers and powers from the Master Sword. This is likely the fate that the other sage met as well. Link must awaken a new sage by playing this song to open their eyes to fulfill the role. So Link heads to Medley on Dragon Roost Island and plays her the song, which quickly sends her into deep thoughts, as if it's familiar. In this moment, Medley connects with Laruto and is awoken as a sage. But in order to power the Master Sword, she'd need to offer her prayers within the Earth Temple. So Link and Medley head straight back to Headstone Island, where when Medley plays the Earth God lyrics, an entrance to the Forgotten Earth Temple opens up, and together, they take on the dungeon. Through various mirror puzzles and enemies taking swipes at them, the hero triumphs through another challenge, slaying the dungeon boss Jalhala, and allowing Medley to offer her prayers here, and begin to repower the Blade of Evil's Bane. That leaves the hero with just one more sage to investigate and help out, and it's a pretty similar situation, only this time Link heads to Gale Isle to learn the Wind God's aria, and it's here that he meets the former Sage of Wind who fell to Ganondorf, Fado. He learns the song here and is tasked with awakening a new Sage of Wind, who would turn out to be Makar. The wee Korok has a similar awakening to Medley, and then together Link and Makar head back to Gale Isle to play the song there and open up the entrance to the Wind Temple. Once again, Link traverses the dungeon alongside Makar, taking on unique wind puzzles and battling enemies, until eventually taking out the dungeon boss Mulgera, allowing Makar to make his prayers, and in this moment, fully restoring the Master Sword, ready to take on Ganondorf. After awakening the new sages and bringing power back into the Master Sword, Link has one more task before facing Ganondorf. He must reassemble the Triforce of Courage, the piece of the relic that traditionally would reside within the hero. However, it's currently split into several shards hidden across the sea. Link travels far and wide to find them, using Triforce charts to help him along the way, and going through several challenges and battles across the sea until eventually he collects all the shards and is ready to go back down to Hyrule. Before Link and the King of Red Lions return to Hyrule, the Triforce of Courage is reconnected, and something incredible happens. The mark of the Triforce of Courage appears on Link's hand, despite not being the actual hero who carries the spirit. The gods chose this Link to become the next hero, and the King of Red Lions says from this moment on he'll be known as the Hero of Winds, marking a new era and new line for the hero who saves Hyrule. Or, in this case, the hero who saves the Great Sea. Now ready to face Ganondorf, Blade at full strength and Link now sworn in as a hero in the eyes of the gods, he makes his way back down below the waves. Only when he gets down to Hyrule Castle, Zelda is gone. Ganondorf kidnapped her, and they're waiting for the hero in Ganon's tower, a dark, towering fortress that lies beyond the castle. But first, he must battle his way out of the hidden chamber, as two Darknuts appear within a ring of fire. But this would be no problem for the Hero of Winds. He swiftly takes them out and makes his way over to Ganon's tower, and begins working his way through the challenges that lie within. Boss battle recreations, hazardous traversal, and various puzzles to progress, but he breezes through with the wind on his side. Eventually, he makes it to these stairs, which at the top is a room filled with shallow water, a bed, with Princess Zelda asleep under Ganondorf's magic. However, the final battle wouldn't take place just yet. Firstly, Link would have to take on Ganondorf's puppet, a menacing challenge in a tight space, but the hero pushes on, forcing the King of Evil to retreat to the top of the tower, where the final showdown would commence. With the Master Sword at full power, and with Ganondorf in a contained space, victory felt near, but this final battle for the Hero of Winds would not start well. Caught off guard during the King of Evil's speech, he rushes Link and smacks him silly, knocking him down to the ground and the Blade of Evil's Bane far from his reach. After all he had worked for to get to this moment, the blade was out of his hand, and Ganondorf towered over him. Though he doesn't intend to kill Link, rather draw the Triforce of Courage from him, wisdom from Zelda, and combine those with his of power to hold the full Triforce. A relic that, when complete, can grant the user anything they desire. But before Ganondorf can claim Hyrule as his own, the King of Hyrule shows up and touches the Triforce, wishing for hope and to wash away this kingdom, for Ganondorf to drown with it. This causes the King of Evil to laugh hysterically, uncontrollably, but as he was busy laughing away, he was blind. Link and Zelda both stood up and recovered the Master Sword, allowing the final battle to commence. The boy from Outset Island, who previously only battled Orca back home, to now having battled against several bosses and monsters across the sea, is now battling blade to blade with Ganondorf, and it's a showdown for the ages. Water begins to flow down from above, washing Hyrule away as they duel on top of the tower. It's a relentless battle, but with the help of Princess Zelda and her light arrows, Link is able to triumph. He climbs the frame of Ganondorf and stabs the Master Sword directly through his skull, turning him into stone. Directly after Ganondorf's demise, the water begins to cave in more and more. This is where the king says his goodbyes to Link and Princess Zelda, saying he will stay here with his kingdom, but he wants for them to go and find a better future for the legacy of Hyrule. Go find a new Hyrule. As the water overflows, Link and Zelda float to the surface, as the king remains with his kingdom. Once they reach the surface, Zelda has turned back into Tetra, and conveniently, her crew show up to collect the two, ready to set off on their next adventure. The Hero of Winds is probably the most unique hero purely because he was never meant to be one. Link was just an island boy who shared the name of the legendary hero in green. He wasn't summoned or had a Triforce mark appear in his hand. He simply got pulled into an adventure due to tragedy, and through that quest, he slowly, bit by bit, fell into the role of a hero. You could say that was destiny, but I say he was an unlikely hero. Initially, it was just for his family, but later, to save the world. His story continues in Phantom Hourglass, the direct sequel to The Wind Waker. Already a hero by now, he ventures the sea with Tetra and her pirate crew, which leads to a whole new adventure with new characters, this time in an area called the World of the Ocean King, which is a whole adventure in itself. They would eventually go on to discover new land and honour Hyrule's legacy, reinstating the kingdom on new land in the game that follows Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, where we play as Link, a descendant of the Hero of Winds. Thanks a ton for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed this lore video, and if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you drop a wee like down below and consider subscribing for future Zelda content from myself. What other lore stories would you like to hear on the channel? I really enjoy making these videos and I'm open to suggestions, so let me know. A massive thank you goes to my channel supporters across YouTube memberships and Patreon. Their financial backing of these videos is a big part of making them all the more possible. If you'd be interested in supporting my content beyond just watching the videos, which is already more than enough, if you'd like to, then check out the supporting links down below. All tiers receive the same rewards, it's entirely up to you how much you'd like to pledge. Any and all support is incredibly appreciated. If you'd like to keep up to date with me and what I've got going on, then join my Discord server and follow me on my socials to keep up to date. All the links can be found in the description. Thanks again for watching, you lovely folks. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or night, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.